My husband's Bible-loving homophobic mother is stalking and harassing us. My husband and me, we're a gay couple. We've been married for 2 years. When we met, my husband was heavily depressed because of mother-in-law, constant pressure to find a girl, marry and make a family as soon as possible. She didn't care that he's very young, she didn't care that he wanted to get an education first, her only concern was, you've a job and now you must have a family. Nothing else matters, just find a girl, marry and have babies. My husband and me, we've an age gap of 11 years, now he's 22 and I'm 33, but when we met, he was 20 and I was 31. That's why we kind of started as friends, because I was unsure whether something more was possible due to our age difference. However, as the time went by, we realized that we're falling in love, there's nothing we can do about it, and honestly, that age gap has never been a problem for us. We dated in secrecy for 2 years. He was staying at my place often, which led mother-in-law to think that he had found a bride. My husband was like, yes, Mom, I've someone I love, and mother-in-law was like, well great, then bring her over so I can judge whether she's the right choice. Even if he was straight, that's a messed up thing to say, as she obviously meant that he can only marry her if mother-in-law approves it. Then my husband told me that he was tired of hiding, that he wanted us to marry and then he would come out to mother-in-law. I was happy to hear it because I was getting tired of hiding too. We married the same way we dated, in secrecy. We only had a handful of good friends there with us, and the next day my husband and we both went to visit his mother to tell her the truth. Even though my husband warned me beforehand that it might get ugly, I was still hoping that his mother would support her son, as he's her child after all. Fast forward to meeting mother-in-law, it did get ugly, more ugly than I could even imagine. First she thought we were joking, and when she realized we're not, she got livid. I've heard many homophobic things in my life, but I had never met a person that would be more homophobic than she was. You've got the gay disease, don't you? Oh no, you're not a crap pusher. There are no such abnormalities in our family, where the hell did you get it from? 2 men cannot be a couple, that's bull. You need to see a psychiatrist. All these arguments and many more made me feel as if we were still living in the Middle Ages. She slapped my husband several times. When I pushed him behind me to defend him, she slapped me as well. She cursed me and cursed her son, telling him that he's not her son anymore and won't be until he refuses this lewd lifestyle, and yelled at us to get out of her house, which we gladly did. First we thought about going to the police and report mother-in-law for assaulting us, but then we realized that we cannot prove it, no witnesses, no cameras, no nothing. My husband was very upset because I come from a big family, I've 3 brothers and 2 sisters, I've aunts and uncles, and I've a bunch of cousins. He doesn't have a father, he doesn't have siblings, and his mother is basically his only relative. Of course, now he's a part of my family, but still, hearing your own mother saying such things to you is really hurtful. A few days passed and then my husband received a call from mother-in-law. It seemed that she had calmed down and was able to talk to him in a civilized manner. She visited him at his job, but my husband was wrong when he thought that she was going to accept us. Once again she tried to convince him that that's all nonsense, that our feelings aren't real, and that she has found a good doctor who could cure him from this. Of course, my husband refused to see any doctor because homosexuality is not a disease and no medically educated doctor would say a cure is necessary. And then she asked my husband what I'm doing for a living, what my profession is, and he told her that I'm a firefighter. Suddenly she seemed a lot happier and she was like, oh, then it's not so bad after all. My husband asked her why would my job change her thoughts about me, and she was like, well, it's a dangerous job, firefighters often have many accidents. Maybe he'll burn up one day. Like, how evil do you have to be to wish that to another person? Obviously she hates me the most, because I'm the eldest and she believes that I've messed up her son. I got to talk to her when she arrived at our house. Unfortunately she knows where we live because she followed my husband home one day, which is another twisted thing. She told me to leave her son alone, that he's not gay, that this is all my doing, and that she'll do everything in her power to separate us. I advised her to educate herself about homosexuality, as she's clearly very ignorant, and I couldn't convince her that I'm not after a quick fling with her son. I love him and want to spend the rest of my life with him. I told her that 2 years ago she had led her son to depression by bugging him about girls and not letting him live his life. She was like, I was just making sure he doesn't forget that he has some obligations in this life. What? Since when is marriage an obligation? I also reminded her that she wished me dead. I haven't forgotten it, and she was like, you deserve more than death, you child lover. I honestly don't know how and why that came across, because my husband has never been underage when dating me. Last night she tried to break into our house. I don't know why, but it was obviously her. In the middle of the night, we were awoken by our dog barking and someone banging at our front door. Someone was jerking the doorknob for a good while. We didn't answer the door, of course, but my first thought was that it was mother-in-law. When the morning came and we were leaving for work, the first thing I saw when I opened the door were many notes taped to it. They were all typed on the computer and they all had the same content dash. Horrible things to me. There was my name and things like, die, I'm waiting for your death, you old F word, you child lover, I hope your stick falls off, etc. My husband saw these notes too, and we were both sure that it was mother-in-law because no one else would do it to us. We talked to a police officer who's a friend of ours, and he said that we should save all these notes, but actually, the police cannot do anything because she hasn't actually physically attacked us. As long as those are just words, they can't do anything to her. Even when we told him that she hit us when we met her for the first time, he said that the main thing is proof, and if we don't have proof, then police can't help us. We're actually thinking about moving because we don't feel safe anymore. We don't know what else could come to her mind. It's so very sad that we live in a country that's supposed to be safe for gay people, and still there are some individuals that don't realize that it's the 21st century and that people are different. My husband's Bible-loving homophobic mother is stalking and harassing us. My homophobic mother-in-law burned our house down while we were in it. We made a big mistake when we didn't take mother-in-law's threats seriously enough. We thought that she's like a dog that barks but doesn't bite. Speaking of dogs, the only hero in this story is actually our dog. Heavens bless our dog. It happened at night. My husband and I, we're heavy sleepers, we were dreaming sweet dreams and didn't notice anything. If our dog hadn't jumped on our bed and barked, waking us up, we would probably both be dead now. I'm a firefighter myself and I realized that the fire was too big already, we couldn't put it out by ourselves. We escaped through the window, fortunately unharmed. Somebody had called the firefighters who happened to be my colleagues, which was a weird situation. It was the first time they had to work on their buddy's house. They tried to work as fast and as efficiently as they could, but our house is damaged beyond repair, we can't live in it anymore. Mother-in-law got caught and basically dug her own grave because she herself said that she was hoping till the last minute that her son would come to his senses, break up with me and start to date women, but he didn't, and she felt ashamed that she has created such a deformed human being, so she decided that it is better to have no son than gay son. She basically said she wanted to unalive him. So even though at first what happened was classified as arson with the intent to damage the property, which would mean a softer sentence, after those words it became arson with the intent to endanger life, and that means much more severe punishment, even up to life imprisonment. Our lawyer said that most likely she will not receive the maximum sentence because no one has died, but she will receive at least a couple years behind bars. And there's not much her lawyer can do to help her because she confessed. And she said such a stupid thing. Well, but my son's F-slur husband is a firefighter, why didn't he save his house? In the middle of the night, just awoken, no gear, no tools, no equipment, caught completely unaware by the fire. Are you serious, mother-in-law? You think that just because I'm a firefighter means I can put the fire out with my bare hands? Many people think that house fire is like they see in the movies, flames and light, but actually it is a complete darkness. The smoke makes the room so dark within minutes that you can't even see your own hands. House fire is always like a dark night. Now we're living with our friends while we find another place to live. Our clothing, our documents, passports, marriage certificate, everything is gone, but of course, those are just things, we can buy them again. We're alive, that's the most important thing. My husband is done with her. He's so very upset that his own mother wished him dead just because he's gay. If before this he still hoped that their relationship could be fixed, now he doesn't want to hear a single word about her anymore. Her homophobic hate almost unalived us. And it is our own fault as well because we didn't give her actions and words the seriousness they deserved. We know some gay people who also have homophobic parents, but they have never tried actually unaliving their children. I guess that's why we didn't think that it might happen to us.